And my father had told me this story, and I turned it into a play. But I remember that the story, I heard the story from my father probably as far back as 1961. And it was years later I was able to turn that into a play. So a writer internalizes a lot of things and watches a lot of things and is able to sort of bring it back.
From some of the letters you wrote to your old classmates,
Yes.
You were obviously very good. Your favorite subject was English literature?
English literature, yes.
You were the best in class.
It wasn't English, it was English literature.
English literature,
yes.
Yes. And that eventually led you to study
Theater.
Theater arts, right?
Theater arts, yes.
Tell me a bit about that. This is your first memoir, right?
Yes, it's my first. The second one is coming out in about a month or so. It's entitled Some Memories of California. And these are memories of my California years between 1984, I believe, to 1988. But let me answer your question.
I mean, yeah, that's in line with my question, really.
Okay.
It's connected to my question. I'm keen on knowing your writing story, writing history, as it relates to your academic history, which is connected to what you wrote here, your interest in English literature, when you were in school.
When I was in school, this is how I got into the business of writing, if you want to call it that way, because writing is a business. People don't realize this. That's why writers are not very good businessmen, because they don't know how to manage the business. They get agents and all that. But let's leave all that aside. When I was in the secondary school, there was someone who taught us English literature.
Mrs.
Victoria Adebekun. That is correct.
And you had a crush on her. From what you wrote here.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you did. I think it's in the story of
it's there.
Was that Lampaka story?
It's there, yes.
Yes, there was somebody who there was a time you were top of your class in that subject.
Yes, I was the top of the class in English literature. I will score like 97% and all that, and I was very fond of her because not only was she was a very good English literature teacher, she was also extremely attractive. And for a 13, 14-year-old boy at the time, what do you do with that? And she's your teacher. But anyway, that was who gave me the impetus to become interested in literature and writing. And in fact, I remember she was teaching us Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. And I committed to memory then the speech of Duke Orsino. If music be the food of love, play on. Give me the excess of it that's of faith in the appetite may sicken and so die. And so on and so forth. That's from Duke Orsino's speech in the play Twelfth Night. And up till today, I can recite it just like that.
So that inspired you to study theater arts later on?
It inspired me to study, it inspired me to want to be a writer. Because all the literature books I read at the time, Shakespeare,
Pride and
Prejudice, Jane Eyre, David Copperfield, and so on and so forth, 39 Steps, and so on and so forth. So I became interested in writing from then on. And of course, I really wouldn't have, because we were so far away in those days from what was happening in Nigeria and the writing process and all that. We heard about Achebe and Soyinka from afar off. Remember, it's in the 60s.
Yeah.
So we're not even near those people at all. We just heard about them. But I was near Shakespeare. I was near Mrs. Adebekun. And the writing came about from all of that.
Interesting. Now, have your classmates,
yes,
have they all read this?
One classmate whose letter is in there, Showboy. His name is actually Adejare Shoyoye, but in those days we called him Showboy. So, and I remember he lives in the U.S. and probably in the state of North Carolina. And only some months ago, I sent him a note. I said, hey, did you know I wrote a book called Letters to the Grammarians, and that your letter is in it? He said, oh, really? I said, yes. I said, you know what? He said, send me a copy. Send me. I said, I can't send you a copy. It's published in the United States. You just log on, go to the website of the publisher, and order it, because I don't have a way of sending it to you. And he said, okay, okay. He was excited about it, but he hasn't read it. He promised to go and get it. Let's put it that way.
And
he lives in North Carolina.
And the rest of them have not read it.
Well, there is Alan Parker, and there's a letter to Alan Parker in there. He, from what I hear now, is a redeemed pastor. But I have no contact with him at the moment. I don't know where he is.
Well, let's hope one of them is watching this. I mean, they need to read this. Yes. Another interesting thing is how it helped to capture the history of your school.
That is true.
We're not doing a lot of that. I mean, that's something interesting to talk about maybe some other time, because we don't have so much time on our hands. Yes. But the idea of preserving the history of our schools, particularly the very old ones, like your former school, African Church Grammar School. Yeah, I think is a very good one, because some of those schools have such rich history that have been lost.
True.
So well done for you to you to have done that.
Thank you so much. You know, the history you mentioned is very important, because our school is still there today, as you know. It's now, basically next door to Government College Ibadan. And in those days, we were constantly being compared to the students of Government College Ibadan. And our principal was the former Mr. Odushote of the old Odushote bookstore.
Oh, in Ibadan.
Yes. So he was determined to produce students who are just as good as Government College students. You've got it.
Prof.
Yes?
It's been nice having a chat.
Thank you so much.
We are completely out of time.
No problem.
Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Book Club.
Thank you so much.
Nice having you.
All right.